When you come to, you're in a strange and unfamiliar dark room. Your stomach aches and you feel nauseous. Thick ropes bind your chest tightly, but they aren't the source of your pain. You remember now, several days ago, you left on a research expedition into the rainforest with two of your colleagues. Forced to move 40 on the way back, the three of you ingested some berries that you were sure now were poisonous. Your colleagues sit behind you, unmoving. The air smells like metal. At this point, I think I should probably check my surroundings. You squint hard, willing your eyes to adjust to the lack of light. You'd almost guess that must be late in the day, maybe even night, if not for the stream of light tracing a single door frame. A small window sits in the upper center of the store, papered over with grime and dust. The bars over it remind you of a prison cell. The room itself is rather sparse. Large wooden table stands in the far corner against the wall near the door. Beside the table is a pile of things. You can't tell exactly what this pile consists of, but it might be your belongings. The floor beneath you is damp, with dark puddles that your mind refuses to register as blood. These puddles are ebb towards a grated drain. If you were to vomit, which you feel very inclined to do, you guess it would be drained as well. Pete! You whisper urgently to the witch beside you, but she didn't respond. Squirming against your restraints, you attempt to lean your head on her chest to listen for a heartbeat. After a few moments, you're sure you can hear one, faintly, despite the distracting pounding in your own chest. The current state of the rat beside her is something you won't be able to confirm for yourself. The door suddenly opens, starting you back into an upright position. You shut your eyes tightly to shield them from the harsh daylight. A masked being has entered the room. They approach. Your eyes remain acting within a group, not only do you have no chance, but it's also a horrific and heartbreaking and bleak. As the blood drains from the rat who doesn't deserve this, you swallow, dizzy, and try your best to remain calm. Say something, you fool.
You shouldn't cut people like that. He'll die.
You're probably able to say it firmly. You're able to say it firmly, but the mouse ignores you.
Let me go, please. I'm just a researcher. I won't report this. I'll never return here. Please, I'll do anything.
Of course, they can't understand you. That's what the translator's for. But he's not waking up now. The mouse pulls a cloth from their pocket to wipe the knife. Once it's clean, they look to you for a long moment. Think desperately now. You can convey to them that you mean them no harm, and that you only want to go home. But instead, the nausea you've been staving off comes to a head, thanks to the inescapable smell of your colleague's blood. You lean forward and vomit helplessly onto the floor. It flows towards the drain after all. The ground must be slightly slanted here. The three of you were placed in this room in such a way that your blood, vomit, or any other bodily excretions would go right down the drain. They planned for you to bleed for them. They brought you here for the purpose of being drained. And now, you only feel more sick. The mouse kneels down in front of you. Their rubber rainbows squeak lightly as they move. When you look up at their face, the mask, they bring the soiled cloth to the sides of your mouth, dabbling the mess away. You'd almost believe it was a small kindness, if not for the faint taste of blood on your lips. So soft compared to the music. Let me try something. How's that? Yeah, okay. The mouse seems to study your face for a moment, but you can only stare back in stunned silence. What use are words if this mouse can't seem to understand you anyway? They stand the open door, then open the door to leave. You hang your head as the despair of your situation hits you in a wave. You sit there, sobbing in the darkness as you listen to the slow drip of the drain in front of you. Day 2. The witch beside you still hasn't woken up. Pete is much older than you, with a weaker constitution. As a witch, you expected she would be a little sturdier, but apparently not. Being able to use magic doesn't guarantee protection from poison. Her specialty lies in photography, not medicine. She isn't wounded though, at least not in any obvious way. It isn't her blood that stains the floor where you sit. The only one the mouse seems to have cut into so far is the rat, moss. Pete is employed by the very same institution as you are. She's well known within her field, undeniably skilled with decades of experience. You were honestly excited to get to work with her, until you realized she was surprisingly old-fashioned, viewing the cultures you studied as uncivilized and beneath her. She exploded at Moth Swansas. His incompetence was made clear. You tried to get between them, and your supplies were lost in the scuffle. If she had kept calm, you could have worked together to find a way back to the path you marked on your map. You weren't to blame her, but you were angry at the rat's deception too. Morale was completely shot by the time you gave in and tried those berries. Of everything you could have eaten, the berries were... None of you asked to end up in this situation. You need to think of a way out. It's probably too late for Moss, but if you could just untie yourself and Pete... The ropes refuse to loosen themselves no matter which direction you bend your torso. Without something sharp to cut through the fibers, you'll be stuck like this. You lean your full weight onto Pete again, as you've continued to do throughout the night.
Pete, please, wake up.
You hate having to face this alone, even if this witch were to only offer unpleasant remarks. At this point, you'd accept them with full gratitude. The door opens again for the first time since yesterday. The sudden sound of heavy rain causes you to jolt, but you remain frozen, lying against Pete's shoulder. The mouse is here again. Is it the same one as before? Judging by their stature, you imagine it must be. They walk past you and over to Moss. They pull out the knife again. You can't bring yourself to watch this time. You only wish you could cover your ears. That way you wouldn't have to hear the sounds of flesh and muscle parting, of his blood pouring out of his severed veins and splattering loudly onto the floor.
Why are you doing this? Please!
You cry because you can't think of anything else to do. You can't just sit and wait for your turn to be flayed. But you can't move and the mouse won't listen to you. So you sit there, whimpering until you hear a loud thud. You finally open your eyes to see Moss's corpse, a misshapen lump on the floor. Even in this low light, you can tell what was once human skin has become coarse fur. A quirk of animal folk. They return to their bestial form upon death. Having forgotten that, you realize he must have been alive and unconscious until now. I don't think panic is gonna help us any. So we will try remaining calm. Sorry for the temporary, There we go, let's try that. Okay. Your mind is racing, but you shut down every single one of those thoughts out in order to survive. Moss is dead, but your position is unchanged. You have to escape. The mouse begins dragging the larger rat's body across the room, inch by inch. You're breathing hard, but as you watch this tiny mouse struggle to move this heavy corpse, you almost feel bad for them. That's when you finally think of something you can do.
Hey, untie me!
The mouse stays focused on their task.
He's heavy, right? Untie me and I can help you move the body.
You almost can't believe what you're saying. Your shaky breath steadies the more you talk.
It's so sad watching you try to move him alone. Please, can I help you?
The mouse stops to look at you. Their masked face sends a chill down your spine. You worry that being able to read their expression would feel even worse. You have their attention. You have to commit to this now.
Where are you moving them? I can help you. I promise I'll help, but I can only do that if you untie me. And you can tie me up again afterwards, of course. I'll cooperate. Please. I just want to help.
The mouse steps over the rat's body and kneels in front of you. The same as they did when you vomited yesterday.
I'm not supposed to talk to you.
Your eyes light up. She can understand you after all. Her voice sounds young and feminine. This is a child being forced to do terrible things by some monster. You can talk her into releasing you. You have to. It's your only path forward.
I won't talk. I'll just lift. It's just so sad watching you. I can't bear it.
She draws her knife, and for a moment you think she's about to silence you for good. But instead, she cuts through a piece of rope.
I'd like to move this to the table.
You do as the mouse commands.
Day 3.
Pete woke up last night. You filled her in on everything that happened. Moss's death. Your masked captor. You left out the part where you convinced the mouse to untie you. You pretend she didn't say a word to you. You hadn't said anything more to her either, and even let her tie you up again in the end, as promised. Pete would only scorn you for not putting up with more of a fight if she knew. Although she's still rather delirious and weak. She ate the largest share of the berries, now that you think of it. You don't know how much she'll fight back, or if she'll be able to help at all.
Pete, are you still awake? Yes.
The level of annoyance in her voice is far higher than usual. You imagine she's in a lot of pain.
We should try to come up with a solid escape plan, don't you think? That's what I've been thinking of ever since waking up. Do not interrupt me again if you want to live. You know what? You can eat her.
It doesn't seem like she's willing to coordinate with you. That's fine. It's exactly why you've already set your own plan in motion. You can't depend on each other. But escaping together, if at all possible, would be ideal. You don't like her, but leaving this witch behind would haunt you for the rest of your life. You're sure Moss's death will too.
Yeah, what happened in Moss after that?
You can't keep the images of what the mouse did yesterday out of your head. After hoisting Moss's corpse onto the table, she thanked you before tying you up again. And then she went to work dismembering the corpse. Completely terrified, you tried to keep your eyes to the floor, but you didn't save you from the slapping sounds of meat chunks being stacked high into a pile. A rat was butchered meters away from where you sat. She cut into his flesh for hours on end, and you sat there and watched. You watched and you wondered who taught this child her technique. You wondered how many bodies she had done this to. How many people she calmly sliced up into unrecognizable chunks before now. To what end was Moss flayed? And which one of you was next on the chopping block? You watched, thinking hard about these things until the mouse finished her work and carried those pails full of meat out of the room. You wish you could do something to put a stop to all of this. Your ropes aren't as tight as they were before. You've tried squirming around again, but you haven't gotten them to budge. Still, they're a little less uncomfortable. Your muscles are stiff from being stuck in one position on the floor. You wonder if the mouse would be willing to leave you untied in this room. The door is unlocked anyway. It's locked. You need to earn more of her trust. At the very least, you'd rather Pete be the one to be drained next. The door opens and the mouse enters the room.
Let us go. We can pay you. Do you understand?
Pete speaks quickly in demanding tone, but the mouse ignores her, as expected.
What is it you want? Food? Wealth? I won't be made into a ritual sacrifice. We can make this worth your while.
The mouse kneels down before the witch and holds the knife to her skin. Pete flails in panic. Knocking the knife from her hands, it slides across the floor toward the drain, but it doesn't fall in.
Oops.
The mouse calmly collects her knife. You're silent, thinking desperately of a way to delay her further.
Lone told me all the way about how you butchered that rat. You collected his meat. For what? Are you cannibals? Or do you toss the remains into a pit to appease your god, you fucking savages?
She falls over to where Moss once sat, flailing dangerously again as the mouse takes slow steps towards her. An idea comes to mind. You swallow hard before asking.
Would you like some help again?
Pete stops flailing all at once. You can feel both of them staring at you, but your eyes are fixed on the captor's mask. The mouse nods.
Okay.
Wait, what happened? What?
He refuses to speak to you. You tried to explain that you only held her down like that as part of your ploy to earn the mouse's trust. But you got results. You convinced her that she didn't need to trouble herself with tying ropes around your whole body. So today, it's just your hands that are tied. You've been able to pace about the room, which feels much better than sitting on the hard floor. Your odds of survival are slowly increasing. You don't worry about Pete's blood spilling down the drain. She's weakened but still alive. That cut was far from fatal.
Let's see, I want to search the room first.
Though you can't do much with your hands tied behind your back, you were able to confirm a few things about this room. One, there's no way out. The door is locked, the small window in the upper centers of it is barred, and there doesn't seem to be any other exit. Two, the pile of things next to the table doesn't contain your belongings. You thought as much on the first day you woke up here, and you're happy to learn that they weren't thrown out or being stored somewhere you wouldn't be able to recover them. You weren't able to open your bag on your own. You're too afraid to move anything far out of its place anyway. If only your hands were untied, you could dig through your belongings to find something sharp enough to use as, well, a means of escape. Either to untie Pete, or as a weapon you hopefully wouldn't have to use on a living person.
You didn't need to call them savages, you know.
Ah! Jesus! Thank you for the raid! How you doing? How much did you have to drink?
Hi.
Oh, Starburst. Thank you, dear, for the follow.
We always do appreciate more to the definitives. A happy little family, you could say.
Welcome in, welcome in.
Hey, Becca! How are you?
Are you holding up okay?
Spacecles, hello, welcome in, welcome in. What are you playing, my friend? I'm playing Escape from Wormwood. It's a visual novel. Very drunk. Hibika didn't drink at all. I don't believe that whatsoever. Yo, this one seems like, so it's kind of got like a creepy vibe to it. You just missed a little girl carving up a body, so that was something. Trey, can you say? Oh, okay.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
How's that? So drunk he's saying in Spanish.
Adios and vaya con Dios.
Best song ever. Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you all had so much fun, and I'm happy to have you here with me.
You didn't need to call them savages, you know.
Heat gives you a silent glare.
Didn't need to make it a sexy conquest. Oh, okay. My bad. Voy a gozar los huevos.
Oh, jeez. Pete gives you a silent glare.
It's offensive. If they were city mice, you'd call them murderers, right? So just say murderers. Alone.
You are for once relieved to hear her voice.
Unge? Dame unger. Unge? Unger. Unge? Yes? I do not need your lecture on political correctness when I am bleeding out because of you.
You purse your lips.
I hate your keyboard. Aw, poor Drake.
Sorry.
You rack your brain trying to figure out your next move, but it's hard to think on an empty stomach. You've been running on adrenaline these past few days and your nerves are completely shot. You were, at the very least, given some water yesterday. Both you and Pete. They seem to want to keep you alive for a little longer, but you aren't sure exactly why, or for how long. Maybe you'll be able to get some answers today. You decide to make that your goal. The little mouse returns. You move back to your place next to Pete in a show of cooperation. When she kneels down and draws her knife, Pete interjects with a level of composure you're shocked to hear from someone crumpled, bound and bleeding on the floor.
Mouse, you should be cutting him instead.
You almost can't believe your ears. How does she expect to have any chance of escaping if you're both weak from blood loss?
Why me?
The mouse pauses to hear her out. You want to cry.
He's trying to trick you. He's gaining your trust a little at a time before taking that knife from you.
You're almost relieved when your little mouse brings the blade down and pierces her flesh. You feel awful about it, but it spares you another day.
Can I ask a question?
The mouse cleans the blade against a cloth as she always does.
We're not supposed to talk. I just want to know your name. Hearing you call you Mouse, I felt sad, so I didn't know your name. That I didn't know your name.
She tilts her head at you as Pete continuously mutters swears under her breath.
I should introduce myself first, shouldn't I? My name is Lone. No. I'm sorry. I don't have a name I could share.
She stands to leave.
Is there something I could call you? Something other than Mouse?
Pete moans in agony, but you don't let her distract you. You need to keep building trust or else you'll be both killed. mouse stares at you for a long while before turning away.
I don't know.
She opens the door, letting in the roar of heavy rainfall.
I'll think of something for you.
You yell after her as the door closes. You hope she thinks about it too. Day 5. Pete isn't speaking to you again, but this time, it's because she hasn't seemed to regain consciousness. Her body is alarmingly cold, but you think she still has a pulse. She isn't dead just yet. But you don't think you'll be able to escape with her anymore. You weren't counting on it to begin with, but it would have been nice to not to be alone. You sigh. Your stomach is tearing itself apart with hunger.
You know,
You address the unconscious witch, well aware that she won't respond.
I think you're more guilty for where we've ended up. I've only been making the best of a bad situation. You understand that, right? I'm not some monster who wished for all of you to die.
Her silence pains you, so you try to put her out of her mind. A name for a faceless mouse. No, she isn't faceless, only masked. The group she's working for, the one that tells her not to talk to you. The one keeping her nameless and anonymized. Anonymized. I got it, first try. That group is keeping her personhood from her. By giving her a name, you can work towards removing that mask. The door opens again. Each time it does, you brace yourself for a new mouse, a stranger to walk through the door. You brace yourself for your strategy to be completely overturned, for your progress to be reset, and to feel overcome with despair as the stranger drives her blade deep into your flesh, to be cut into pieces, bones discarded and carried out in metal pails just like moss. But you can tell it's her again today, the mouse who will help you escape from this place. Her hood and boots are drenched with rain. She doesn't bother to shake any of it off. Instead, she looks right at you and makes a small sound, like she's smiling under the mask. It's how you want to be greeted. So it's what you imagine the sound must have meant. You smile back.
Forgive me for speaking, but I've been thinking of what to call you. I don't know what kinds of things you like, so I mean, if I give you a name, I think it should be something you like, so what do you... I do have a name.
You pause, blinking twice.
Yesterday you said you didn't, so I'm sorry to have jumped to conclusions.
The mouse kneels down in front of Pete and draws her knife.
I can't share it. We're all given sacred names by the highest power.
She makes her incision. You don't watch the blood leak from Pat's arm. You only look at the mask.
We're not supposed to share our sacred names, but I think it's okay if I tell you what my name means. And then you call me something based on that. Does that work?
She's making concessions to you. You're compromising. It's something small and trivial, but she's willing to negotiate with you. which means you still have a chance of negotiating your freedom.
What does your sacred name mean? Water from the heavens, where the highest power lives. I'm proud of my name, so if you call me something like that, I'll be happy.
She wipes her knife. Pete is still. Trying to think feels like wading through a deep pit of mud, but you finally land on something.
Little raindrop.
The mouse doesn't react, so you rush to explain.
It's not a name, but a term of endearment, like sweetheart or pumpkin. Pumpkin? My grandma used to call me that back when I was a little tyke.
You don't think about the ways Pete reminds you of your late grandmother.
How old are you, little raindrop?
She thinks for a moment.
16.
Too young. She's far too young to be taking lives like this. Though you realize it's likely because she's so young that this group has been able to mold her into a killer. The mouse turns attention back to the witch lying still on the floor beside you.
It's hard to tell when a witch's heart has stopped beating. Can you help me again?
You swallow hard and turn your head to finally face what's become of Pete.
Sure.
Day 6. You sit on the blood-soaked floor with ropes tied loosely around your body, though not so loose that you could shuffle your way out of them. The other mice had apparently scolded Little Raindrop for leaving you unbound. It wasn't proper. She told you the highest power would be displeased and that she had no choice but to tie you up like before. Your eyelids are heavy. You feel hollow. Somehow, you've ended up making negative progress. Today, you're all alone.
Oh, what all happened yesterday?
After confirming Pete's death, after you laid your hand on her chest, remembering the first time you heard her faint heartbeat despite the pounding of your own, you listened for that sound as hard as you could, but it wasn't there. You felt like your heart might stop too. Instead, it continued beating, this pulsing inside your ribcage that you usually never paid any mind to. You curse it for its diligence. Pete's body was dissected the same as Moss, but only this time you didn't watch. The raindrop chatted to you as she went about her business. The conversation took your mind off the things she asked you to do. Her commands you obeyed without much hesitation. You're out of your mind, but everything you've been doing, all your efforts, everything you've done in order for you to escape and survive this ordeal, you have to survive this. You squirm lazily in place on the floor, but the ropes don't budge an inch. You want to cry, but you've already dehydrated. You want to go home, but you can't leave this room. You want to die, but only if it would be painless. You don't want to bleed like Moss and Pete did. You don't want to be reduced to chunks of meat and forgotten. It's late when the mouse arrives. So late that you've almost believed she wouldn't come today. Your raindrop. candlelight reflects off her mask, a terrifying figure. You smile weakly.
I'm here because I was able to sneak away with some leftovers.
Food? She brought you food. She's still on your side. Your little raindrop from the heavens. She came here because she didn't want you to starve.
Is it really okay to be giving me your food? I hope you've already eaten your fill.
She kneels down in front of you, presenting a bowl of stew.
We're having 3 feasts in a row, so I don't mind sharing some.
Oh. Okay. So either she is she's giving him like veggie stew, or this is gonna have pieces of cut up friend inside of it.
Thank you, little raindrop.
Another sound comes from behind the mask as she's smiling at you again. You want to believe that.
I can't tie you, so I'll feed you myself.
She holds up a spoonful of the dark stew. Your eyes linger on the chunks of meat. It's Pete. Pete is in there.
I called it! I fucking called it!
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez, man. Where's everybody in chat? Everyone, raise your hand if you're in chat. I need backup. I want to refuse. Oh, this is probably gonna kill me, but you know what? If it does kill me, I can start the game all over again.
It's wrong.
The words barely came out. You're so hungry, but you know it isn't right.
We feast to honor the highest power who brings us our food. I'm sure the highest power will be happy as long as it's eaten, even if it's by a kind outsider like you.
You don't have the strength to argue with her. You're too weak to refuse.
No! No! We just ate our friend.
For 5 days, your little raindrop came to visit and made small and horizontal incisions across your wrists. They bled as you chatted with her. You continued to chat in order to take your mind off the pain. You think you're probably going to hell. There are all sorts of conceptions of hell in the cultures you've studied. Be they cold, fiery, a transient purgatory, or a realm of eternal punishment. You weren't sure you believed in hell before now, but being faced with your imminent death, you want to believe there must be some kind of afterlife. You can't imagine whatever's next would be a peaceful paradise with your family, your ancestors happily waiting there for you. Surely some kind of retribution is coming for a coward like yourself. What's being done to you now? It isn't enough. The blood coagulates, the wound scabs over, a fresh incision is made. Maybe the only part of you that will ever escape this place is what's already flowed down that drain. But each time the door opens, a little seed of hope is planted. She's here again. She smiles to greet you.
Wait!
Son of a bitch! What just happened?
Carefully picks up her candle. Late in the night, the little raindrop yawns, then carefully picks up her candles.
I'd better go to bed.
You don't want her to leave. You don't want to be left alone another night in this dark, horrible, blood-stained room.
Good night, Loam. I'll see you tomorrow.
You offer a weak good night and close your eyes. You don't know how much longer you'll last.
Day 13.
You're feeling more lucid today. The hopelessness has left you. You think it's probably your body's last hurrah. Your grandmother was like that too, the day she passed. You wonder if dying bodies can feel their expiration date coming on. You thought you'd be scared, but really, you've spent these past 2 weeks in total fear. You're overdue for a sense of peace.
Okay. I'm ready.
She raises the knife to your arm and waits for your approval. She'll be forced to reopen an older wound with how many cuts she's been left there. Why does it fall on you to signal the go-ahead? It's made this whole thing feel like a slow suicide. It's enough to make you laugh, but the corners of your mouth only curl slightly at the thought before relaxing back into place. In the end, you do give her a nod, and she cuts. And you bleed. You're so cold, but you don't even have the energy to shiver. You wish she'd brought a blanket, but you can't ask for that now. You don't want to open your eyes again. You thought for a moment that you didn't want to, but...
Little raindrop. Could you take off your mask?
She hesitates.
My mask? Why? I've never seen your face. I'd like to see it once before it's too late. Okay. Oh.
You stare at her for a moment. In the light, you were almost unsure. But there really is a person under there, not some monster. You worried you might only be fooling yourself, believing she was a victim like you. She's still a child, A child whose view of the world has been warped in such a way that brings harm to others. She can't see the damage she's done. She hasn't had a chance to comprehend it before being put into this situation. Oh, such beautiful round eyes.
Oh, your eyes are nice too.
You're able to muster a real laugh this time. You have to say more than that.
Listen, little raindrop.
Once you prepare my body for the feast, we won't be able to talk anymore.
And that's okay, the feast is what's important. It's a great honor to be offered up by the highest power. You were chosen.
There wasn't enough time. You couldn't get through to her. There was never going to be a way to untangle those immoral beliefs of hers overnight. But you leave it like this, she may never break free from them. Use all that's left in your strength to lean forward, letting your head fall on her lap.
Please learn everything you can about the world, little raindrop.
This highest power of yours isn't the only power that exists. It isn't the only way. She doesn't say anything. You continue.
I'm sorry. I've only ever said things that must sound like sacrilege to you. But I hope that you can understand it one day. Come to understand it and escape from this place. That is my wish for you.
You close your eyes again. You pray to every power that you can think of to let this mouse escape.
Part 1 end. Oh, that was just part 1. All right, hold on. Okay. Oh, I don't think I have it in me to go and to do another part of this. But you know what? I absolutely love this. I will definitely be playing this again in another stream sometime soon. But thank you all who have tuned in and watched. And it's been my pleasure to play this game for you. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me just do my stupid voices and everything. But yeah, you all have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever have you. And just remember to think outside the box and have a lovely time.